All right, welcome. Residents, business operators, and friends, welcome to the annual State of the City Address. It's an honor to stand here today and gather and reflect on the progress that we've made, discuss our future endeavors, and to celebrate a vibrant community that is Arden Hills. On behalf of the City Council, I want to welcome you all here today. I want to introduce council members to you. First, Council Member Brenda Holden, Council Member Tina Monson, Council Member Emily Rousseau, and Council Member Kurt Weber, and of course, I'm your Mayor, David Grant. I also want to acknowledge City staff's hard work and dedication. Their efforts have been instrumental in shaping the policies and the initiatives that contribute to the prosperity of Arden Hills. Led by City Administrator Jessica Jago, our team works hard for all of you. Along with Jessica Jago, I also want to introduce Jake Riley. Jake is our new Community Development Director. Jake started, was it a week ago? Julie Hansen, our City Clerk and Assistant to the City Administrator. And Laura Mitchling, where's Laura? There's Laura. She's our Community Communications Coordinator. I also want to recognize some people that aren't with us here today. David Swearingen, our Public Works Director, and Chua Yang, our Finance Director. So there's your council, and there's the people I just introduced, both the ones that are here and the ones that could not be here. And this is our current organizational chart. And with that, I'd also like to, along with these folks, thank everyone that works here at City Hall for all that they do. To support the needs of this leadership team and to continue to provide and maintain high quality level of services in our community that our community is known to provide. City staff has grown in the area of public works, with the addition of a Parks and Recreation Manager, and as well as two job title changes in the Public Works area. We have 2 leads assigned. Before we delve into the details of our current state of the city, I want to express my gratitude to each and every one of you for being here today. It's a testament to the strong sense of community to have people interested to come and listen to what's going on in their community. You make a meaningful contribution just by being here today. Beyond today, I encourage you to actively participate in our community activities. Your insights and ideas and involvement are vital to shaping the future of Arden Hills. I also want to acknowledge a special guest today. We have our County Commissioner, Tara Jabin Singh. Tara also serves on the TCAP Joint Development Authority Board. Thank you once again for being here this morning. I look forward to our discussions, our updates, and our shared enthusiasm that will make this State of the City Address a more memorable event to us all. And with that, our organization is very similar to the past, where each council member will present a particular topic. And the first topic that's up is Rice Creek Commons. We will be taking some questions. Some were submitted in advance, and we'll certainly take questions here from those of you that are present. I'd ask that you fill out your questions and give them to the city administrator, if we get questions which are similar, that way she can combine them so we can answer a question and accomplish answering two. So with that, we'll move on to Rice Creek Commons, and presenting is Councilmember Monson.
I'll take that clicker though. Good morning, everybody. My name is Tina Munson. As the mayor noted, I currently sit on the Joint Development Authority along with Councilmember Weber, and so it's my honor today to walk you through the Rice Creek Commons updates from the last couple of years. Here's just a quick overview for everyone to take a look at. I think many people who are familiar with the project may be very familiar with this information, but it's a 427-acre site. And it was once a Superfund site that has now been delisted and cleaned up to residential standards. We have a JPA with the county, which is a joint powers agreement in which we outline duties and responsibilities. So the city's duty within Rice Creek Commons is to zone the site in preparation for development. And the county is to purchase the site. They did do that from the Army many years ago, and they've performed the necessary remediation, and they continue to own the property today. And we'll have to work with a developer at some point to sell the property in order for the development, and that is something that continues to be, that's an ongoing item. There are a number of amendments in the zoning, and you can see them listed here in 2015, 2016, 2023, and lastly in 2024. In 2018, due to differences on the project, the JDA ceased to meet, and there was a lawsuit that was brought forward and was ultimately resolved in 2021. Since then, in 2023, the JDA has come back together, and a number of things have happened, which is where I'll talk a lot about what has happened since then. I'll just note, and I wonder if the pointer works here. Yeah, you can see these two arrows at the top left. The one on the north is pointing to the thumb parcel or outlot A, and we'll talk a little bit about that. I just want to flag that for those who are looking at the map so they know the location before we get too far away from the map. So there's a lot of small words here, but generally we have a vision statement. You can take a look at that. That really outlines what we're trying to do here in terms of the development. We have two advisory committees. One advisory committee is for the development negotiation, and the second advisory committee is for the energy goals. And I'll talk a lot about those actually coming up. I think the most important sort of impactful thing that has happened since in the last year or so is what happened at the end of June, where we have separated ways with the developer. In December of 2023, we signed a preliminary development agreement with Aladdis, and there were dates within that document, and one of the dates, of course, was June 30th, 2025, to get to a development agreement. And you're welcome to watch the JDA meeting in which we had really robust and meaningful conversation around that deadline. Aladdis did request an extension, and that conversation was what we had on June 25th. The JDA had determined that essentially not enough progress had happened and opted to not allow or not approve the extension. And because we did not allow the extension, the agreement essentially expired on its own volition as of June 30th, 2025. Functionally, that means we no longer have a tie with a developer in an exclusive manner. We are working really hard on what the next steps mean for that, and that is primarily around looking at the market, reviewing the market, and trying to understand what things need to change, if at all. The JDA continues to be very committed to getting the project done and moving forward. And there's a lot that has happened there, and you're welcome to watch the JDA meetings. And we do updates at the council dais at the bench here at every council meeting. Part of what we're looking forward to do is in 2026 actually build the spine road. And that is the main road, the main corridor that you can see here on the map. And that is an incredibly important moment. So no development can happen on site until that road is essentially constructed. And the last couple of years, in 24, and I think even in 25, there was a request at the state for bonding to help support the construction of the spine road. It might be 23 and 24. I'm not quite sure exactly on the years, but what has happened is the county has basically found allocation within their budget to show their strong commitment towards Rice Creek Commons being completed. And now we have the budget for the spine road to move forward here in 2026. We are working on the design at the moment, and that should be done here in the fall. We'll go out for bid. So we are super excited about that gating item being completed. And what does that mean for the city? So it is a county road, but there's a lot of city infrastructure, trunk water and sewer utilities that go through that we will have to coordinate with the county on, and there's a number of other items. But that's really exciting, and we are working really closely with the county on funding for that, and so we are excited about that partnership going forward. There are a number of other infrastructure things that need to be completed, and you can see the list there. There's a natural resource corridor, there's a booster station, there's sanitary sewer lift station, multi-purpose trails, water tower, parks, and also county regional trail. Now those items don't all have to happen in 2026. Some of them have to happen once we actually start building structures on site, or what we call vertical development. So there's a lot for the city to look at and review, just simply from the infrastructure perspective. In that time as well, we've been working very hard on a green energy vision. And I won't read this slide, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to point to the policy statement at the bottom, which says Rice Creek Commons seeks to be an all-electric, carbon-free development. And this is really what is shaping and driving the development that we see there today. And we'll talk a little bit more about how we're asking developers, or what we're asking developers to do in order to reach that. And I want to point out this slide, or this picture here. It's LEED for cities and communities. And many of you are probably familiar with LEED for building homes, where you have gold and platinum and silver ratings. They now have a general the same sort of framework for LEED for a community. And what does that mean? That's actually looking at a community from a wholesale perspective. So does it have transport? What are you doing for stormwater? How are you handling greenhouse gases? How are you handling affordable housing? Is it walkable? Is there green space? So all these aspects of a community that really create a sustainable community is framed up in this framework. And so we are super excited about ensuring that we are driving towards our goal there of a platinum certification. So how do we actually do the very aggressive all-electric community? The JDA has been very open and clear about knowing that this is an aggressive approach that we really want to accomplish, but we're also very practical, and we really like to see what we can do, but we're not going to allow something like this to necessarily hold up the development, and that is through how we accomplish that balance is through the sustainability design guidelines. So when a developer comes in and they see these sustainability goals, the sustainability design guidelines are the pathway for them, basically the checklist for how they can meet the goals that we have set. And you can see a number of them on the side. There's building certification, there's energy efficiency, electrification, renewable energy, district energy, EV infrastructure, waste management. And so how we've created the balance is essentially if the developer is unable to meet those goals, they can ask and request for a waiver from the JDA. And that is basically proof that they've tried to do something and were unable to do it for whatever reason it might be. And we have experienced that through one of our developers already. Ryan Companies is building the microcontrol project, or company's new headquarters on Outlot A, which I think is the next slide. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But they had to go through the process. They were the first ones to go through the process, and they did request a waiver in which we were able to find a balance for them around that request. Outlot A. Oh, actually, there's a wonderful map here marking off where it is. You can see it there in the upper left corner. It's about 40 acres. And then you can see this nice sort of rendering in the middle, and there's a red box there. That's the microcontrol facility there. That's 10 acres of the 40, and the remaining 30 continue to be under contract for marketing. Ryan Companies was selected to develop this site, and so they were selected in early '24, and they continue to do the marketing. This is super exciting. This is the first development on site at Rice Creek Commons. So first shovels in the ground, first project, first jobs to help meet our goals. It has the sustainability goals, and it was really exciting to go to that groundbreaking this spring. So for those who are attended, I hope you had as much excitement as I felt when I was there. And it was just really fantastic. So we continue to be positive about the next 30 acres, of course, and we are also still very positive about the California piece, which is the remaining sort of southern piece there. We call it the California piece because it looks a lot like California. I think that brings me to the close of the Rice Creek Commons. Oh, we got one more slide, sorry. These are general, basically data and facts about the project, which I think is a nice reminder for people. So it's 1,960 housing units, and those are a variety of types of units. And the goal is to have a full life cycle of the housing. So studio apartments or townhomes, starter homes, larger homes, condos, it's a full list of ensuring that people are able to, of all different phases of life, will have a house or housing. In terms of affordability, at least 20% of those units, 392, will be affordable at 60% or below. That 60% is below the AMI, or the area median income, which is at just shy of $79,500 income for a family of 4. There's a 10% owner-occupied requirement for those units, which is around 44 units. And then, of course, Ramsey County, in the time, in the last 5 years or so, probably has really leaned in hard on finding and creating programs to help with affordability, either from a down payment assistance process or other items. And that's actually very exciting. That is something that has come over time that will help support the affordability of the housing units here at Rice Creek Commons. The high-paying job creation is another goal, and then of course there's a goal to ensure that Rice Creek Commons does not put undue financial risk or burden on Arden Hills. I think you have to realize that Rice Creek Commons is a really large addition to our city and would likely increase the population by 40 or 50% of what we have today. So super important that we do it well, and that we do it in a way that supports everyone. Of course, I've already talked about the green energy and sustainability, and then there's a breakdown of the number of acres that you can see in terms of housing units and what that'll look like. There's a lot of work to be done, but we're also working on sort of a new marketing piece for Rice Creek Commons. I know we've had open houses, and now we're looking at doing more of a virtual webinar series, which I think is really exciting because it's more accessible to a lot of people. And our first one we just decided on would be the green energy and sustainability. So we'll have that webinar up and people can join it, and that will be recorded and saved on the ricecreekcommons.com website. And hopefully with success there, we will continue to do different topics on that. So now that does bring me to a close, and I will hand it off to Councilmember Holden for the Public Works portion.
Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm doing the Public Works portion, which to me is the bread and butter of a city. You need to have roads and sewer and water, so welcome. This is Public Works. So I just wanted to quick go over what kind of options there are for doing our roads. And part of it is when we do our roads, we want to try to make it as cost efficient for the city and for residents. The typical one is mill and overlay, where they just go down 2 inches to the foundation. And depending on the foundation, whether or not you can do mill and overlay or more. Some of the roads were done with clay, so clay is not a good foundation for the roads. So depending on foundation, we can do mill and overlay for really reasonable. We can do full depth reclamation. The foundation has to be good. and for us to do that, but we don't have to dig it up and start over and bring in fill. And of course, the most expensive option is reconstruction, and we try very hard not to do reconstruction because it is, as you can see, 2 to 3 times more costly than any of the other options. We do check the roads every 3 years, their condition, to make sure that we can stay on top of the cheapest option. And we are on like a 20-year cycle right now for roads because we do, again, want to make them affordable for everybody that lives there. Okay, you can't see the little map, I know, but I'm just going to tell you part of the street maintenance schedule. Every year we do crack sealing, and we're doing a new thing called Reclamate. It's an emulsion spray, and what they do is they put some sand on it, and the sand's only done for traction, and the sand eventually becomes very transparent. But the transparency and the Reclamate is again different from when they used to spray it with the tar and put the little shavings of rocks on it. So this has been proven to be a lot more efficient in Minnesota. After a new paving project occurs, we have a 3-year cycle where we will do the Reclamate, the 9-year cycle, and at 15 we start checking it and doing some borings to make sure it's okay, but we still will do the Reclamate. And then at 20, we budget for 20, but again, depending on the condition of the road and the foundation, we can move it out depending on the road. So we're estimating every 20 years, so if you move here and you're here for a long time, you'll probably get your street done more than once in your lifetime. And we spend an average about $270,000 in operating costs each year we're putting aside for this type of maintenance. 2016 is going to be the Venus neighborhood. We did Noble and Stowe in that in 2016. And we're planning on doing Tom Drive in 2016. So those will all get Reclamate next year. And this is just our street rating condition. So what happens is we do go around and look at streets to see where we're at. And I would just like to say Arden Hills is one of the best communities in the metropolitan area as far as street conditions. If you've ever drove in another community, a lot of roads are really in bad shape. We're in the 70s, and we're projected to be in the 70s. Next year, we will be doing the Carth Lake area, and that should bring us up to another high once that's done. But if you look at the projections, even though your road may look really good, it's not necessarily good. There's all kinds of different cracks that mean different things to everyone. So the engineers know what to look for, and this is how they're basing their projections. Our 26 pavement management program, again, will include Carth Lake, and the total cost of the Carth Lake project is about $3.1 million. Hopefully the slide should be readable, but that will include the roads, how much we assess people, which is 50%, and then the sewer, the water, and the surface management. Again, we look at all the roads and we fix them how they need to be. Some will be mill and overlaid, some will be reclamation. And then we will be doing all the trails in the Cummings area, so all along Cummings Park and in that area. We're going to replace a big water main on 96. We're going to have an alternate water supply to people, so they'll probably only be down a short time while that's put into place. All the sanitary sewers have already been videotaped, and we are going to do the inflow and information improvements, which pretty much is putting a polymer in the sewer pipes, and you expand it to the walls of the pipes, and that holds about 20 to 30 years. We also get grants from Met Council for that, which is really important, and we've been lobbying the legislature for more money because I think it's a really good idea to fix our sewers because nobody wants sewage in their homes. We're also going to increase the quality of Carth Lake. We're adding a little wetland, a little pond area, and we're going to do some lake pumping changes to Carth Lake. So this is what we've done in the past, just so you know what when you pay taxes, what we've been using some of your money for. In 2015, it was Noble and Venus neighborhood. In 2018, Floral, Indian Oaks, and the frontage road on Highway 10. In 2021, we did the Glen Paul area. In 2022, we did Old Snelling and Arden Oaks, which was about 2.2. And then in 2024, we did the clean Norma area. So in the past 10 years, we've roughly done over $15 million of street projects in the city. And this is what we're doing this year. In 2025, our engineering staff has a really busy schedule. We have Great River Greening, which we have a contract with. We're doing buckthorn removal at Floral and Hazelnut. In addition, that money will be used for a natural resource management brief to tell us how to deal with the areas once they're clean, and that will include the Chatham open area space. Again, we got a grant from that, and then city funds is about $38,000. We're also doing the maintenance on the Old Snelling and the Glen Paul area. We're doing the crack sealing and the fog coating and reclamate, and that's about our maintenance budget of $272. We're doing the CIPP lining. Again, I described that. That is the cure in place, where you pour the polymer in the sewer lining, and it keeps it safe, it keeps the cracks out, and it keeps all the tree roots, which we have many trees in the Arden Hills. And we did a new park at Arden Oaks and Freeway Park, so if you haven't gone by them, please go by and see the new playground equipment. And we've taken out some trees on Freeway, and the only thing really left to do is the tweaking and the cleanup and the landscaping on those two properties. So those will either be finished this fall or in the spring. 2026 projects, this is next year. So, there we go. We had a blank slide, huh? So 2026 infrastructure, we have, again, we have the 2026, which is the Carth Lake area, it includes Amble on both sides of the freeway, or of Lexington, or on the east side of Carth Lake and the west side of Carth Lake. The total cost there is about $3 million. And you can probably see, I'm not going to read all the numbers because I'm sure those are, but it's a $3 million project that's broken down between many funding sources. We're also looking at doing an old Highway 10 trail, which is from Lake Valentine Road all the way down to 96. That might be postponed. Ramsey County is coming with additional information, and it may end up where we get more money from the county. So we're looking at that for next year, but possibly moving that out. Because the more money the city can maintain and get from the county, the more money we can put into more trails. We just have, again, our maintenance project, which is seal coating and fog coating, and crack sealing. Arden Manor is going to finally get their hard court rehabbed. They have a basketball court up there, and it's been in okay shape, but it's time to replace that. We do have some trunk water utilities. This is part of the TCAP property where we need larger pipes coming from Roseville, where we get our water from. They get it from St. Paul. But that will be coming through from Roseville, and that will be about $800,000. Again, more projects in 2026. We're going to do some more hard court resurfacing. We have the Hazelnut Park parking lot, which is the parking lot that we utilize for Hazelnut Park. We've been working with them. We've always had a contract with them for many years. The parking lot now is not in very good shape, so we are now working to redo that parking lot and with a split with the church, and we're working on that. We're hoping that will be done next year, maybe piggyback on the new Brighton County Road rehab, or try to work with them so that we can save mobilization costs. Again, Hamlin Avenue Trail up by Lydia, we need to do that, and that's next year. And again, that's 50/50 between the city and Ramsey County. That's $160,000. The Highway 1051 trail, which we talked about, is right off of Highway 10. It kind of right off of Snelling on 51. It will connect Roseville to right up where the old Snelling comes out onto 51. And then we have the Royal Oaks Trail, which is going to be about $450,000 trail, and that will be down by the old Snelling Park, and part of that is going to be paid for by a developer. 50% is the developer, 50% is the city. And then on County Road E Trail from Elmer Anderson to Lake Johanna, that was supposed to be done this year, but the county postponed it to make it part of the Lake Johanna project, so that will be coming up in the future. So here were two of the big projects we had anticipated coming up next year, but they will be coming in the near future, if not next year. The old highway trail that will go all the way from Lake Valentine Park all the way to 96. We've already done half of that from County Road E to Lake Valentine Road. And Lake Johanna Trail, which everybody in that neighborhood is looking forward to. It's very not safe on that. People speed. It's not a safe area to be walking. But the county's looking now at splitting that into different segments. And so we don't know when that will be done. The county will be meeting with us Monday to discuss all these options for these trails. Okay. So we have a new park system plan. Our old park plan is old, but we still are dealing with the old park plan, and part of the old park plan was the trail to 96 and Lake Johanna and several of the other trails. But the new park plan is going to be more expanded. We're going to look at all the different parks. We had a survey. We mailed everyone a survey to participate. We had over 800 people respond to the survey. We're asking all the people for their feedback on the trails and their park use, how they use them, and what they can do. We're going to do an inventory of every single thing that's in the park. That includes trails, the sports fields, any of the amenities, the benches. And so eventually we'll have this park plan. It's supposed to be done next spring. There's a small committee working with the developer or with the contractor on the park plan, and we will be going over the results hopefully in November, probably a little later. They haven't compiled everything yet, but the new park systems survey plan will be really exciting, what we need to do to help everyone utilize our system better. And here's the two parks that we did this year. In case you haven't driven by, please do. Arden Oaks. The last time it was done was in 1999, and now we replaced all the new equipment. And the nice thing about that is we're going to have a nice trail that goes around there that will be, so all the equipment will be ADA accessible, and the park will be ADA accessible. And Freeway Park, sure you only see the upper half from County Road E, which is the ice skating rink and the shed, the warming house. But down below in the neighborhood section is where the park is, where the kids go and play, where we have a basketball court. So please drive down and look at the parks and see what's been happening with them. And there's going to be a fence along the freeway exit ramp, which will be put in by MnDOT. And that will make it safer for any kids utilizing that park to go alone and stay off and not get hit by cars. So our 2027 park improvement plans is Sampson. If you guys don't know where that is, it's off Lake Johanna Boulevard, off of Lake Lane. It's a small little park. It's really quiet. It's enclosed by lots of trees and canopy, and it's really a small neighborhood park, and it's a wonderful park to go to. And the other park we're going to do is Ingerson. Ingerson Park, if anybody doesn't know, it's up there by County Road D. I always refer to that area as the Dairy Queen area. So you can see that from the street. We do have a lot of equipment, and that park has been used a lot, and so we're looking forward to getting that updated for the neighborhood residents. And that's all I have, and I will now turn it over to Emily Russo to do her section.
Thank you, Councilmember Holden. Let me make sure all right, figured that out. Hello, I am Councilmember Emily Russo, and I will be providing our update on the community development activity in Arden Hills. Start with that. Our community has desirable residential neighborhoods, and residents continue to provide feedback on creation of local jobs and obtaining a mix of commercial amenities. Our business community is an important component of the city's long-term success, and the city's economic base continues to remain relatively strong. So this was evident in 2024 with the city seeing a variety of commercial redevelopment projects, and that carried on into 2025 with an uptick in the number of new construction projects that were either completed or held a groundbreaking ceremony, with construction starting this year. So our community has a commercial business network and a long-standing tradition of maintaining sound, residential, vibrant neighborhoods. These characteristics continue to make Arden Hills a desirable place where we continue to see significant investments back into properties through the building permit process. This also includes remodeling or additions to Arden Hills, and we're going to highlight a few of these projects as well. So the first is Mr. Car Wash. This was located at 3751 Lexington Avenue. This was the former site of Arby's, which was demolished in August of 2024. This new construction was valued at $1.5 million and took roughly 9 months to complete, with a grand opening held this summer. The property is now the site of an approximately 5,400 square foot single-story drive through conveyor type of car wash with self-service vacuums. Mr. Car Wash prides itself on being good stewards of the environment with innovations, including proprietary cleaning products, free of phosphates and dyes, and using over 50% reclaimed recycled water within the wash process. Next is the Genesis Event Center at 3776 Connolly Avenue. This is formerly the Northern Lights Bingo Hall next to Flaherty's. The City Council approved the redevelopment project in July of 2024. The property is currently being updated to be used as an event center and a restaurant with 450 guest event space capacity and 34 guest restaurant space as well. The space is being designed to host a range of events such as weddings, cultural celebrations, and corporate functions. The redevelopment will include improvements to the exterior finishes, the parking lot, and the site's landscaping at an estimated value of $800,000. The business owner is excited to create a vibrant social hub and support other adjacent local businesses, as well as promoting that cultural exchange within the community. As well as several of the other council members and the mayor were at the recent ribbon cutting for this activity, which was held on September 12th. And then Arden Hills, really, except for the TCAP area, is considered primarily a fully developed community. In 2024, the city received 2 residential new home construction permits. One of the new homes is located on one of the 2 lots that was subdivided in 2023. This property was the site of the St. Paul Lodge No. 2, also known as the Oddfellows Lodge, which was demolished in September of 2022. The city anticipates this builder will be applying for the other new home construction permit on the second lot before the end of 2025. The other currently under construction, this new home is located off of New Brighton Road, where the former residence was demolished, and the new owners are looking forward to rebuilding their forever home. Such great pictures there. So these next two development projects on this slide, they held groundbreaking ceremonies earlier this year. The first commercial new development is located at 5380 Rice Creek Parkway with an estimated value of $13.4 million. This developer and contractor for the project is Ryan Companies. I know Councilmember Monson had mentioned this earlier as well, so just kind of getting into a little bit more of those details in that space. But this is a 157,000 square foot advanced technology project for this new headquarters of Microcontrol. This manufactures test equipment for the electronics industry. And the project will span approximately 10 acres of the Outlet A in Rice Creek Commons and be home to more than 200 jobs. And then the second one we wanted to highlight as well is Lake Johanna Fire Department. So July 22nd of 2022, the City Council approved a proposal to construct a 41,000 square foot headquarter fire station. The facility is at 3535 Pine Tree Drive with an estimated value of $13.6 million. The faculty will house administrative staff as well as a response crew and is to include a training facility for the department. The facility will provide fire and medical emergency response services to the cities of Arden Hills, North Oaks, and Shoreview. It will replace Station 4 located at 3615 Victoria Street, which is across from Island Lake Elementary School in Shoreview. And this is to become the new headquarters of the department, and the headquarters is anticipated to support our communities and our needs over the next 50 years. So their groundbreaking occurred on May 22nd. Community members can drive by the property to see construction progress or follow the city's Facebook page where we share video posts from the Lake Johanna Fire Department. So in this slide, we're looking at 2025. There's going to be 2 new development projects starting construction before the end of this year as well. The first project is a multi-family housing development called Platinum 55, and that's located at 1750 Highway 96. Trident Development LLC is the developer, and they intend to construct a 119-unit, age-restricted of 55-plus, 3-story apartment building without any affordable housing units. The property to be developed is located within the North Heights Lutheran Church property boundaries near the intersection of County Highway 96 and Highway 10. The development project includes the subdivision of 10.74 acres of land in the northwest corner of North Heights property for the development. This project is estimated at $20 million. We also have on this slide the exciting new development, which is coming from the Minnesota National Guard. As a part of their approach for holistic health and fitness, the Minnesota National Guard will be constructing a new 49,000 square foot development training facility that will include studios, weights, office areas for cardio, and turf fields on the Arden Hills Army training site. The facility is estimated at $14.5 million. And zoning and subdivision ordinances, some of our favorite conversations here at the council. The city is working with a planning team from HKGI to update the zoning and subdivision ordinances in the city code. There's 4 phases in this 18-month project, and 2 of those phases have been completed to date. As part of this project, the city intends to remove inconsistencies, improve formatting for ease of use and implementation, review and modernize standards, and in general, just betterly align the code with the city's priorities and land use goals that are found in the 2040 Comprehensive Plan. This process will result in a revised structure and content for the new code, beginning with the zoning districts, the use table, and lot and site dimensional standards. The Planning Commission and City Council, as part of the first 2 phases, has looked at a wide variety of topics, including updating the titles and purposes of the existing zoning districts, modernizing the list of use that are allowed in each district, discussing standards around parking, outdoor lighting and signage, and streamlining city procedures for processing and approving land use applications. The city has created a project web page to share the materials that have been developed for the Planning Commission and City Council. And in addition, HKGI will create a brief survey they've created this brief survey now to collect feedback around a handful of these topics, and we'll be addressing these in the updated codes. So that survey is open now and is available until the end of October. So a full draft of the updated codes will be made available for public comment, consideration, and adoption of the new codes. New zoning and subdivision language is expected before the end of this year. So we've got some new upcoming construction as well we wanted to touch base on. There are other projects that are anticipated to come to fruition in 2025, in 2026, actually, we're moving on to now. And one in particular to highlight is the potential new industrial development of a site often referred to as the Primer Tracer site. On January 8th, 2024, the City Council reviewed a concept plan presented by Maplewood Development, Inc. for a project to develop an anticipated 62-acre site, which was auctioned for sale in 2023 by the federal government. This portion of the larger federal government site was previously used as a manufacturing facility for the production of component primers and tracing compounds associated with small caliber ammunition production. So the 62-acre site, which will include deed restrictions that limit future development in an industrial use, limit them to specifically an industrial use. Maplewood Development is proposing office and warehouse land uses that will include an area within the business park for accessory outdoor storage. So we're going to continue to watch this, and you can look at it on the city website for future updates and those tentative timelines around the project as more information is shared by the developer. So here on this slide, we are showing the location of that Primer Tracer site up in that little corner area over there. You can follow the arrow. Another notable future development project is the site of Lexington Station Phase 3 at 3787 Lexington Avenue North. This site was approved for an unnamed grocery store, but construction was suspended nationally by this tenant in 2023 when the interior build-out was about 80% complete. So this site is currently advertised for lease, and any future user other than a grocery store would need to be reviewed by the city. We also have on here the Pace Industries site as well. This is at 3737 Lexington Avenue North, which is on the corner of Lexington Avenue and Gray Fox, or next to the Mr. Car Wash. This 2.5-acre redevelopment site has been vacant since 2019. A couple of proposals have been reviewed by the city for the site, which have not moved forward for several factors. Future development would include demolition of the existing industrial building, and the site would be tested for contaminants. We continue to evaluate development and redevelopment projects, and we want them to be beneficial to advancing the goals and policies outlined in the 2040 Comprehensive Plan. There we go. And then the Economic Development Commission. Highlighting this a little bit, they were newly reformed in 2023. Membership is open to any resident or non-resident that is an owner or employee of an Arden Hills business. The mission is to build lasting connection with and support for the local business community, to foster a thriving local economy, and to advise the City Council and the Economic Development Authority on economic development, redevelopment, and related community development opportunities. The Commission has several initiatives that they will be undertaking throughout the remainder of the year and into 2026. This includes review of the sign code, review of business licensing processes, creating partnerships with other business organizations, enhancement of the economic development webpage of the city's website, and increasing communications with local businesses. The efforts of the Economic Development Commission, which we call the EDC, is to support their mission. And they're starting with business events that they are hosting. So the first one that they are hosting is called Brewing Local Business Connections. We've got a little bit of information about the timing on this slide over here. The event will be held on Wednesday, October 22nd at Flaherty's. Flaherty's is located at 1273 County Road E, and it'll be from 8 until 9 a.m. Check-in begins at 7:45, so come a little bit earlier. And then the City Council and Economic Development Commission members are encouraging our business community to RSVP with the city's senior planner for this. We're just trying to get an understanding of what the head count's going to look like for this first event. So reach out to Elena Franzen. She is our senior planner if you're interested in attending the event. So this concludes my portion of this presentation. I want to thank you for your time, and I'd like to turn it over to Councilmember Weber. Great suit, by the way.
Oh, thank you. You as well. Twins. I noticed the mayor's pretty similar as well. Let's see if I can figure this thing out. All right. Thanks everybody for attending today. My name is Kurt Weber. I'm going to be walking you through our public safety presentation. So public safety is one of the most important responsibilities we have as a city. It's also one of the most visible ways people experience local government. When there's an emergency, such as a fire, a medical situation, or a break-in, residents expect someone to respond quickly. Of course, that expectation is reasonable, and we take it seriously. Arden Hills contracts with the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office for law enforcement and emergency dispatching. We're part of a shared model that includes several other cities and provides full-time coverage and a range of services. But like many services, this one is getting more expensive. Our contract is approaching $2 million, and public safety overall has jumped nearly 20% in our budget. These are major costs, and we need to make sure they continue to reflect the needs and expectations of the communities paying into them. In 2024, the Sheriff's Office responded to just over 3,000 calls for service in Arden Hills. That is down from nearly 5,000 the year before. Most of those calls were not crimes. The majority fell into a miscellaneous category that includes medical assistance, alarm calls, 911 hangups, and support for the fire department. These might not sound dramatic, but each one involves someone in our community needing help. And we appreciate the deputies who continue to show up when called. On the fire and emergency management side, we partner with Lake Johanna Fire Department. They also serve Shoreview and North Oaks. Most of their calls are for medical response, not structure fires, which is consistent with national trends. Fire departments today are doing more medical work than ever before. It changes how they train, staff, and operate. In a look back at 2024 numbers for calls for service, the Lake Johanna Fire Department responded to nearly 5,000 calls. Of those, approximately 72% were for medical-related incidents. In Arden Hills, the average emergency response time from Lake Johanna Fire is 6 minutes and 3 seconds, which is a solid number, and the department is working to keep it that way. Staffing challenges are making that harder to sustain, but help is on the way with changes already underway. We expect to see response times improve. And on the next slide, we'll talk about the financial side of these services. In the proposed 2026 budget, public safety accounts for just over $3.1 million from the city's general fund, $1.9 million for the sheriff's office, and about $1.1 million for fire and EMS. That means that nearly half of our yearly budget, about 41%, is going toward public safety. That total is up by a little more than $400,000 compared to this year. This is a significant expense, but it reflects the cost of providing critical services. We manage that cost by sharing resources with other cities. Arden Hills accounts for about 14% of the sheriff's budget and 24% of Lake Johanna Fire's. By pooling resources, we avoid the overhead of running standalone departments. We also gain access to a more robust and reliable system. I'll also say that we don't just write the checks. Arden Hills stays engaged in budget discussions, performance reviews, and planning efforts. We continue to advocate for both quality service and fiscal responsibility. And this last slide reflects where the fire department is heading. Lake Johanna Fire is currently focused on two key efforts. One is adding full-time staff, and the other is building a new headquarters facility, as mentioned by Councilmember Rousseau, which is right here in Arden Hills. The current headquarters in Shoreview is almost 40 years old and no longer meets their operational and training facility needs. Arden Hills, Shoreview, and North Oaks work together to achieve this goal. and it's one that should be very beneficial to our city. Right now, the department relies heavily on part-time firefighters. That model is getting harder to maintain. In the first quarter of this year, 37% of their shifts had fewer than 8 firefighters on duty. Staffing is an issue that many municipal fire departments are struggling with in other suburbs. At Station 130, which serves Arden Hills, the situation was worse. That station was unstaffed for 21% of its scheduled shifts in 2024. Nearly half of all shifts there had fewer than 8 personnel. When a station is unstaffed or under-resourced, it stretches the rest of the system and can delay response times. The department knows this, and they are taking steps to address it. They are proposing 3 new full-time firefighter positions in 2026. The fire department received a SAFER grant in 2023 to fund the 6 full-time captains for 3 years. And efforts will be made to continue to apply for grant opportunities to offset additional public safety costs as they become available. As I mentioned, public safety is the largest expense in our general fund budget. It's not surprising because these are essential services. Our job as a city is to make sure those services are properly staffed, well managed, and financially sustainable. That means staying involved in staffing decisions, facility planning, and budget oversight. We will continue to monitor performance. We will stay engaged with our public safety partners, and we will work to make sure Arden Hills remains the safe and well-served community that it is for the long term. Now I'll welcome back Mayor Grant to go over the city's finances.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Weber. One thing we noticed from one of the slides, the EDC slide, Wednesday, October 22nd. On the slide, it said Saturday, October 22nd. So the 22nd of October is indeed a Wednesday. Next few slides, we're going to touch on the city's finances, including the city's current financial position relative to the previous 5 years, how our property tax rate compares to other cities within Ramsey County, and highlights from the 2025 budget, and then we'll end with the city's outlook on some future investments. First slide illustrates previous year's revenues and expenditures. The city strives to be a good steward of public money. You'll notice that over the previous 5 years, there's a general increase in the general fund. The city is not insulated from inflation. Obviously, over a 5-year period, you see increases. The city received a clean, unmodified audit report in 2024. For those of you who do audits, clean and unmodified is as good as you can get. It represents sound fiscal management of the inflows and outflows of financial resources, as well as the staff's commitment to the city in our overall financial success. Here we see how the city continues to maintain one of the lowest property tax rates compared to other municipalities. We are at 27.65 for a tax rate. The average cost of the median value home in Arden Hills is $480,900, and that helped rank Arden Hills as one of the lowest compared to other communities in Ramsey County, and it also helps to make Arden Hills a desirable city to purchase a home or to develop a business. One thing about this slide that you'll notice is that, well, aside from the fact North Oaks is not listed, North Oaks is not a traditional city. A good portion of their city is run as a homeowners association. But you'll notice that some of them have community centers, some of them have their own fire department, some of them have their own police department, some of them have revenue sources, which the city of Arden Hills does not have. Shoreview gets a fair amount of antenna revenue from the TV antennas. I think New Brighton gets approximately $750,000 per year in LGA. City of Arden Hills gets $122,000. So there's a lot of differences up there in the cities that may account for the different tax rates. But it's important to note that Arden Hills does rate as one of the lower tax rates in Ramsey County. The next slide, moving into the 2025 budget and the 2025 property tax levy. The property tax levy increased by 13.5% over 2024. Of that, 10.5 was an increase to the general fund budget. That makes the average homeowner over the course of a month, the city portion of your taxes represents $110.04. So we see up here how that $110.04 divides out, and as you saw earlier, public safety, again, one of the big drivers of the budget. One of the things that council has always maintained is that we will not compromise the safety of the residents and businesses of Arden Hills. We contract, as you heard earlier, with Ramsey County for our sheriff department, and we are part of the Lake Johanna Volunteer Fire Department. Then you see that the general government represents about 24%, and public works and park and recreation approximately 14 to 15% of the budget. So public safety, let's see, personnel costs. Personnel costs are increasing 15.4%, or $311,000, 450, and it's primarily driven by an external comprehensive compensation and class study. It's also driven by public works staffing changes. The compensation and class study was completed to ensure the city is appropriately attracting and retaining talent, maintaining internal equity and fairness across different job classes, and complying with federal and state laws. In addition, the city hired a Parks and Recreation manager and we promoted 2 workers to lead positions within Public Works. They also have cost of living adjustments, step increases, and health insurance premiums. All of this contributed to the overall increase in personnel. The city continued its investment in Northwest Youth and Family Services, and the city will be receiving $122,591 in local government aid. So how do the budget impacts translate to a resident? Again, the median home value, $480,900, pays $110.04 monthly goes from city property taxes, which in turn funds public safety, general government, which includes personnel costs, planning, zoning, maintenance of government buildings, park facilities, recreation programs, maintenance and repair of the city's roadways. And again, public safety, the big one, accounts for 47% of the general fund budget for police and fire. Let's look ahead to some of the future investments. Now, we've talked about some of those during some of the previous slides, and that's because that's what we're doing. But of course, that also includes finance. The first one, the Highway 10 Trail, 96 to Lake Valentine Road. That is a $4.5 million project. We have two $1 million grants, so a total of $2 million, leaving a total of 2.5, and the city's share is projected to be 1.3. So we've worked overtime to find partners to finance our project. The Lake Joanna Boulevard Trail, again, that's pushed out probably to 2029. That project is estimated at $9.5 million. It's a joint project with Ramsey County, and really the construction is dependent upon obtaining some outside funding, and of course it's being driven by Ramsey County. The Snelling Avenue North Royal Hills Trail, right near North Heights Lutheran Church and Royal Hills Park. It's a $450,000 project. Trident Development is paying $200,000 of that. The city is paying $250,000. We're pleased to be able to partner with a developer with that project. North Hamlin Avenue Trail Connection is a total cost of $160,000. We've partnered up with Ramsey County, and the city's share is $80,000. The Highway 51 Trail, connecting the end of Old Snelling down to County Road D in Roseville. That's estimated to be a $600,000 project, and we're very pleased that MnDOT is not only leading that project, but will pay for the entire trail. Ingerson Trail Connections, that is an entirely city-funded project of $100,000. County Road E Trail Connection, again, has been pushed out to 2029 to match up with the Lake Johanna Trail. $375,000 project cost to the city $187,500. Again, we're pleased to partner with Ramsey County on that. Water meter replacement's a very big project. It'll take place over the span of 2 years. City cost is $1.5 million. That's all 100% city cost. Our water meters were last replaced residentially anyway in 2000. So they're 25 years old. They've reached the end of their life. They're an electrical and mechanical device. It has a life of about 25 years. Lake Joanna Fire Station. Earlier you saw a slide that said the fire station was $13 million. Yes, that is partially true, only after you subtract out some state grant money. Total project cost is 18.2. Fire stations are expensive. The fire station is being paid with franchise fees. The Arden Hills portion of $2.9 million. And with that, I would like to thank my fellow council members for helping today and present these important topics. I know we went over a lot, and we did so rather quickly. If you'd like to chat further in more detail about any of these topics, feel free to hang around afterward. Council and staff will be more than pleased to provide you detail on any of these projects. Now we'll take a few moments to answer some questions. Some were submitted in advance. Some may be from today's presentation. Staff has sorted through these questions, and then I'll turn the microphone over to either the full council or perhaps I'll couple more slides. Oh, the 75th. Who has the 75th? Tina?
Yeah, I just got a couple slides.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Councilmember Munson again, and I will try to be quick because I think we've used quite a bit of time here. The 75th anniversary celebration for the city of Arden Hills is next year, which is super exciting. There's some interesting facts here. We were incorporated on Valentine's Day in 1951, which is kind of a fun date. And it was originally named after a senator that had a hobby farm here, Arden Farms. And that was all the way back in 1906. So we have some history here, and the reason is why, because one of our themes for the anniversary is going to be around the history of Arden Hills, because it's really fascinating, particularly with Rice Creek Commons. So keep a lookout for that. Our plan is to have a big celebration here in July of 2026, and planning is underway. And we always have to put a plug in to thank our volunteers who sit on our committees and commissions, but also that there may be some openings for those who are looking to volunteer their time and really get to understand the city from the inside, really, right? So we've got the Planning Commission, which is really the workhorse on zoning for the city. We've got Parks, Trails, and Recs and Recreation Committee. They do a lot of all those three things. And then the Economic Development Commission, which we had a good update from Councilmember Russo. All three have different expectations and different requirements. And additionally, it appears that we continue to need coaches for any sort of city recreation league. So I think that's really fantastic. I coached over the last summer for my 4-year-old daughter's soccer team. It was actually extraordinarily fun. I would recommend it to anybody to participate as a coach. Those kids are just a breath of fresh air, and they're very fun. So I think that brings us for the volunteers. And then just to close out, we continue, and one of the things that we really want to highlight here is our continued support for the Northeast Youth and Family Services. This is a really important organization. So they support mental health for families, but particularly for youth. And they do it through a sliding fee scale, which removes financial barriers for those. They go into schools for support. They have art programs. They have play programs for those who are working through trauma. 75% of their clients have a history of trauma from domestic violence and or sexual assault. So they do very, very important work. A number of cities support it through their membership, and Arden Hills is one of them. Councilmember Russo sits on the board, and we're really proud to support that organization. And that closes out the more slides. And here is a nice QR code so you can contact us. And I think we're ready for the Q&A then. Mayor, if you would.
First off, apologies, Councilmember Munson. I didn't realize that you had more slides. So that takes us to questions. So the first question is, I appreciate the work the city has done in adopting a code of conduct for commissions and committees. However, I understand no such code currently applies to the mayor and city council members. Could you share whether this is being considered, and if not, whether it would be brought back into the agenda for future discussions? I believe that there is, from way back, a code of conduct. The city council is working on a code of conduct for itself, so that will be brought back. Next question. We as taxpayers are investors in the TCAP project. When will we learn how much has been spent and when? And if any of this promised tax revenue will be realized? We are all seeing so far, all we are seeing so far is double-digit tax increases over multiple years. Councilmember Monson, you're on the Joint Development Authority along with Councilmember Weber. So you're more attuned to this particular topic, so I'll let you address that.
Happy to. Can I just see the question?
Right here.
Okay. So essentially, the question is regarding the tax revenue versus costs on the project. My comment would be that as we continue to develop the overall picture of the project, what type of housing, so that assigns for assessment and amount of revenue that would come in. So we're continuing to work through that. And then, of course, certain costs, which we do not have defined at this point in time. We have some costs that we can assume, but we don't have a developer today, so there are certain costs that will come, and the developer will be working with them on certain things to help ensure that we are creating the best financial outcome for the city. And so until we have all the pieces, there's really not that much to share. But I will say, and if Councilmember Weber would like to add anything, he's welcome to, but I would say Councilmember Weber and myself are very, very sensitive to ensuring that the economic outcome of the project is positive for everyone. And looks like Councilmember Weber would like to add, so go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to address what was the second portion. Where's the question here? Where am I looking? Okay, so the comment about double-digit tax rate increases, it being, I guess, combined with the question about TCAP, I just want to say that it really has nothing to do with TCAP. TCAP is not, I would say, a major expense for the city right now, and is not really contributing to the tax increases, the levy increases that the city has seen.
Thank you. Councilmember Holden, do you want to comment? We may have 5 answers to this question.
Well, one thing, we have spent money on TCAP. We are keeping track of it. Most of it will be returned when we sell the property. We will get money back for our utilities. We'll get planning fees back. We have spent money, and money has been spent every year for TCAP. It's over $1 million. But that is reimbursable unless we not getting reimbursed up for that later. And as far as the double digits, I know the last couple of years has been high, but in order to maintain salaries for staff and salaries for firefighters and for the sheriff departments, all those have contributed majorly to the cost increase in the city.
Okay, and I would echo some of those comments. The planning costs will get reimbursed back to the city, and as Councilmember Holden indicated, yes, they're over $1 million. Also, there's been a number of comments about the trunk road, the spine road being put in. Our agreement is that it's a 429 plan, which means the city puts it in and assesses it back to the landowner. Now, that may change, but that's the way it currently is. The other big cost for the city is a water tower, and of course the water tower will be billed back to those that use the water tower. So I think really the question is we need to get going with TCAP. Let's see, the next question. The county is moving forward to build a spine road. It was presented that they want to do that in 2026. I assume will require the city to front the utilities. With no developer on board, what economic sense does that make to build a road while the entire project is still in limbo and being litigated in the courts? I got it. The spine road utilities will either be built back to the developer, the landowner, or it is possible, as in how we did the thumb, where the city might actually front the cost of the trunk utilities because they're the landowner, they're going to pay for them anyway. It would certainly simplify the project. Do I know that that's going to happen? No, but there have been some discussions that the county may pay those up front rather than through what is referred to as a 429 assessment. Councilman?
Yeah, I would just add that in our most recent council packet for the meeting we're having on Monday, I believe his position as Assistant Public Works Director will be coming to the council work session to have a discussion. And there is a statement in there, which is the first time the council's seeing it, is that the county does intend to cover the costs of the trunk utilities up to and including the booster station that is not really on the TCAP property, but south on Old Highway 10.
One of the things you learn on a project this big is it's always moving, it's always evolving. I think it's really a positive development. I know in Councilmember Hull, in 2016 or 17, something like that, when the road was put in on the Thumb property, that 40-acre parcel, that's how we worked back when Councilmember Holden and I were on the JDA. That's how we worked with the county. The county paid the cost because in a 429 process, they are also the landowner that would end up paying it. But it certainly simplifies the process. Let's see. I appreciate this question is, I appreciate the work the city has done adopting a code of conduct. Oh, we did that one. So let's see, a couple others. Why is buckthorn not picked up on Fridays as shown on the website? Was not picked up yesterday. Yes, I'm aware of at least one resident that did not get picked up, and I'll be following up with Public Works to see what we can do about that. Councilmember Holden?
But there is a cutoff date for buckthorn because all of a sudden we lose all our summer staff and everyone's preparing for winter.
So anyway, I happen to know the resident who didn't have their buckthorn picked up, and that was from the group here today. We talked earlier. Please talk about secondary dwellings on property. The context being someone wants to build a home for an adult child. Oh, that's a long, very. But say again.
It's on the list.
It is on the list. I think if you continue to listen to council work sessions, you're going to hear about accessory dwelling units, just what do we consider an accessory dwelling unit, just when can it be built, not be built. This one was submitted by someone here. I'd recommend that you hang, save for a little bit more of a detailed discussion on that topic, because that is one that we're involved with currently, and we can each shed more detail on that.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the accessory dwelling units. It has been something that the council has been interested in addressing. We have been waiting for a new staff member to come in. We have a new community development director. Jake started with us last week. Jake, we have so many plans for you. Thank you for coming and joining us. And so we're looking forward to starting to address that accessory dwelling unit and what opportunities the city has with that, as well as making sure that we have some regulations in place so it's not negatively impacting the neighbors.
So the accessory dwelling unit topic goes back to an earlier slide that you saw today, where we're talking about modernizing the city code and cleaning up references and things of that nature. One of those is ADUs. So I want to thank everyone for coming today. It's great to have everybody here. Please feel free to stick around afterward to talk about any topics that you want in more detail, or if there's any topics that you really want to ask about but maybe didn't want to ask about them in a public setting. Thank you all for coming, and I would say that on the city website you have the email addresses for all the council. You can always submit a question or a comment. Thank you.